Hello and welcome to the Roast Recap, a look back on the week that was. Now, some of you might be like Roast Gittins, the Roast's in-house economist kitten, who was too busy crunching the numbers on the budget to catch the show during the week. So for all you good people, we've put together a selection of clips from this week's episodes. But first, Mark Humphries has more in the week's headlines.
Joe Hockey, Federal Treasurer and Ambassador for Flop Sweat, appeared on Q&A last night. After last week's grilling by 7:30's Sarah Ferguson, Joe was brave to appear on the show hosted by her husband, Tony Jones. Joe's like a naive guy they picked up at a bar before taking them back to their place so they could both have their way with him. And following on from Christopher Pine's Q&A appearance, you can bet Katie Noonan was tuning up backstage. But since Vince Sorrenti wasn't on the panel this week, Joe Hockey had to get the laughs himself.
No, I don't think you have to lie to get elected.
I believe we have footage of all the Australian politicians elected without lying.
Uh-oh.
And worryingly for a treasurer, Joe still hasn't grasped what a tax is.
This co-payment you've agreed is effectively a tax on people going to the doctor.
I don't accept it. It's a payment. What you can call it a tax.
You
can call it whatever
a
you
tax.
want.
You admitted it was
no,
a
I
tax.
didn't. I didn't actually. And the fact is, you know, it is a payment, but it comes out of a pocket.
Ah, yes, Joe, but whose pocket?
It comes out of someone's pocket, a taxpayer's pocket.
So the payment that comes out of the taxpayer's pocket isn't a tax.
But your call. You want to call it a tax, you can call it anything you want. You can call it a rabbit.
That's a terrible idea. Who wants to pay the goods and services rabbit? Later on, conversation turned to Hockey's old boss.
John Howard says your changes to tax benefit Part B are in effect a tax increase. Another tax
I don't think
increase.
he actually said that.
Take it away, John.
I think in reality, the constraining of tax benefits is in effect a tax rise.
Bad luck, Joe. Maybe try giving us another fact.
I mean, your life doesn't end when you turn 50.
Tell that to Michael Jackson. Though, all in all, we can safely conclude there was one reason why this was the best ever episode of Q&A. Clive Palmer, the federal member who confuses question time with nap time, says he will oppose the Abbott government's plan to deregulate university fees just days after indicating he would support the controversial changes. Gee, it's almost as though he's making this shit up as he goes. Palmer, seen here with his speechwriter, seemed to have good news for the government last week.
I think we've got to be realistic and not oppose anything for the sake of it.
Realistic? That doesn't sound like the Clive I didn't vote for. But now he says he isn't buying what Education Minister Christopher Pine's selling.
He almost convinced me on some things, but now I realise what he was on about, I don't agree with him.
So he was going to support them when he didn't know what they were on about. That's the Clive I didn't vote for. For the roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
I didn't vote for Clive either. I voted for the Sex Party. I figured they'd have the best after party on election night. And this week, Treasurer Joe Hockey and Opposition Leader Bill Shorten looked set for a showdown on what budget cuts would be passed. And while I love my Alan Kohler, sometimes you just want analysis from that collection of bald British muscles that speaks only in whispers. Jason Statham.
This is Cowboy Joe. He's just knocked up a budget. This is Bill Shorten. He f***ing hates that budget. Now, Cowboy Joe's told Shorty if he blocks his budget, Australia's credit rating will drop like a teenager's bollocks and interest rates will rise like a bloated corpse in an East London river. And that ain't kosher, because it's not about the size of your deficit, but your perceived ability to one day pay that deficit back. Cowboy Joe knows that. Shorty knows that. But like two huge turds stuck in the shitter, they're refusing to budge on the budget.
We should have known there'd be trouble when old Bullet-Tooth Tony got involved. Also this week, students have been engaging in a series of protests against the government's planned changes to university fees. But like a teenage boy watching a sexy movie, the media only paid attention when things heated up.
This budget will deny young people an education and entrench intergenerational disadvantage.
Okay, and when do you plan to start the out-of-control violence?
What?
Which one of your delegates is going to punch a politician? Who's going to get arrested?
No, this is a peaceful protest. We don't want our message diluted by those kinds of distractions.
Sorry, I thought you wanted media coverage of this thing.
We do.
Well, then you better start getting shovey with the foreign minister or disrupt Q&A, you know, something like that. Hey, do you have any lighter fluid and some fire? Can we get some fire? Oh, hang on, we might have something.
No, he is not with us. He does not represent what we are.
Hey, you want to be on television?
Yeah, I want to be on TV. Abbott is a Nazi Stalinist pig goat. Down with society. Neo-Maoist anarchy now. No cuts, no fees. We want everything for free. No.
Violent university protesters rioting in the streets once again.
Definitely one of our more expensive cutaways there, both for the camera budget and that guy's hospital fees. Now, NAPLAN, the National Assessment Program for Literacy and Numeracy, came under fire during the week for the immense pressure it put on young students, who already have to put up with their changing bodies and defending the family home from fires. Yeah, that's me, and I'm f***ing adorable. Now, Nick Richardson
Is that you tubby fireman? You should have worried less about burning houses, more about burning calories.
Wow.
Yeah, my child-raising philosophy has always been to stress my son out to the point of him wetting himself, then stress him out some more when he's in exams.
What is the train's average speed? Is it A, 95 kilometres per hour, B...
Sorry to interrupt, son. I don't want to put more pressure on you than there already is, but I've brought your future boss here. He's waiting outside, and if you fail this test, he's not going to give you a job, and then who's going to support your future wife and kids if you're an unemployed bum, huh? Begging for change outside a bank because you have no income? Covering your face in dirt so when your friends and family walk past, we don't recognise you and we just wonder, who is that weird homeless man? But deep down we know it's you, but we're giving you the courtesy of pretending we don't. And we know you know because not one of us can look you in the eye for longer than a second, you pathetic piece of shit.
Down.
Pens down, pens down. Huh? You do good, boy? Hey? That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Stupid kid.
Nick, you are a terrible father.
And you are a fat 4-year-old.
Well, next up, when Jazz Twemlow heard about the government's new restrictions on welfare payments for people under 30, he quit his job here at The Roast and went out to road test what is in store for the unemployed. And it's not good. For the unemployed, I mean. Jazz's bit, top notch.
I began my unemployment journey by visiting the home of my wealthy family, where my parents were able to help me during this 6-month unemployment window before I qualified for dole payments. Thanks anyway for taking me in during the rough patch, Mama. I really appreciate it. I mean, I'm sure some employment will turn up soon. And this chicken, oh my God, looks incredible, doesn't it?
I'm sorry, who are you and how did you get in here?
As my fellow diners threatened to call the police, I remembered that I wasn't part of a wealthy family who could look after me while I was unemployed. I then went and rejoined my middle-class family, but with cuts to pensions, my grandparents had also moved into my parents' house.
So, you know, although it's going to be a difficult 6 months, I'm pretty sure we're all going to manage under one middle-class roof, eh? And under one blanket. Actually, Grandad, could you move your feet over there? Absolutely freezing. Jesus.
I'm sorry, who are you? And how did you get in here?
I was just...
As my fellow bedmates evicted me with their frozen knobbly feet, it dawned on me that this wasn't my family either. I come from a family who can't afford to support me for 6 months, so I went to the last place these changes to New Start have allowed me to get some support. The kindness of strangers.
Oh, spare some change? No, nothing? Spare some change, sir. Oh, come on, what have I got to do?
A good place to start would be by getting a job.
That's what I've been trying to do. Do you think I want to be here?
As I ranted and raved at the man in the suit, I finally realised this was all my own fault for allowing myself to become unemployed in the first place. So I set my mind to solving that problem once and for all.
Right, so you went and got a job.
No, I stabbed the guy and stole his wallet.
I suppose violent criminal is kind of a job, but it doesn't come with any health insurance, and you would want that because the Coalition is introducing a new $7 Medicare co-payment. But if you can't afford that, well, then your only other option would be to go on one of those reality TV programs where you pay not with money, but with your dignity.
Our next patient, Clark Richards, travelled all the way from Australia to see Dr. Christian.
Yeah, I guess it's not that embarrassing at all, really, but I've had this rash. I think it's from anxiety.
And originally, was your penis pretty much straight?
How do you know? And, I mean, what's straight these days anyway?
With a curve this much, you've only really got one option.
Do absolutely nothing invasive to my penis at all?
I always make a point to insist on non-invasive penis surgery, even if I'm at the dentist. Next up, Jackie Lambie, a slightly invasive politician, appeared on 7:30, where she nicknamed Joe Hockey Cowboy Joe, wanted to tax the banks, and inspired another episode of the often viewed but seldom reviewed children's satirical cartoon, Lammy and the Brick.
It's Lammy and the Brick.
And Wang.
In Showdown with Cowboy Joe Hockey.
This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life.
Not so fast, Cowboy Joe.
Brick. Lammy and the Brick. And Wang, get out of my way. I'm on the pathway to surplus.
We're not letting you go anywhere until you make some changes to the budget.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Where does money come from? Where does money come from? The bank. The bank! Tax the banks!
Tax the banks? What does Parmosaurus have to say about that?
He's busy crunching the numbers.
And what if I don't tax the banks?
Then the pathway to surplus ends right here.
Balance of power. It's not balanced if one power can just throw ideas off the top of their head and block everything.
To be continued. Oh, but wait. What if she never says another stupid thing? Nah, we'll be fine. See you next week.